All the action from the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy proudly brought to you by Diode and their associate sponsors. After doing a full lap of the South African countryside and hitting all of the marks and tracks along the way, the penultimate round arrives at Red Star Raceway.
Welcome to the penultimate round of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy at Red Star Raceway. Yes, we're back for a second time, but the cool thing with Red Star Raceway is that we get to go the other way around this time. And joining me to take us through how that works is Rob Portman. Great to have you on board for the first time.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Great to be here. SuperGP has produced amazing racing this year. Red Star Raceway always produces great racing. And to go this way around now, we're going to see fast lap times. And there's championship points up for grabs, so it's just excitement all the way through.
Yeah, the championship basically could be wrapped up today, but there is a possibility that it could go to the final round at Desi. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But the nice thing for this time out, of course, is a brand new category joining us for the very first time with the Bots and Masters.
Oh, you just cannot beat that sound of the twin motorcycles going around here. The guys, you see, they line up on the highway even to hear those beautiful bikes. So great to have them here, and it just adds to the excitement that is the SuperGP.
Let's go and have a look and see what this track looks like the other way around.
That's clockwise for you guys at home, and the first guys to show us out will be the Super Juniors and the championship points leader, William Friend, showing us how very tricky and technical it is to spin it clockwise.
Yeah, on the transport.co.za, KTM, Rad Moto, absolutely amazing stuff here from our championship leader. And you can see it's not going to be easy for him to try and take the double win, which he has to do to win this championship overall here today. But he's got some serious contenders on his tail, and this is how hard you've got to push that 390.
The short circuit, a lot of side edge. There is the one strake, but it does set them up for very, very hard braking. And when the track spins this way, much harder on the front end.
Now, the nice thing about this way around is, of course, it's a lot smoother on the motorcycle, so you don't have to work as hard. And a lot of guys will find that even on the long circuit, we'll see that a bit later on. But great to see an onboard shot here, courtesy of GoPro, and finishing it up, catching some of the back markers.
William Friend has to have a clean day to take the championship.
The revelation of 2015 has been the introduction of the 390 KTM Super Junior category. And really, it's been some of the best racing we've seen all season long. These youngsters have gone right around the country and put on some of the best racing you'll see anywhere in the world. We look forward to seeing what they're going to do today at Red Star Raceway, the other way around on the short circuit, to try and catch Wild William Friend.
I don't know what I'm feeling right now for this race. I mean, I'm leading championship, and if I can win both here, I can win the championship. So I'm going to go try it and do what I can do.
I just want to get to the front as soon as possible and try and pull a gap on the rest of the guys.
Dominic Doyle has been doing all the work. He's the only man that can keep the championship from the hands of William Friend here at the penultimate round. He could make it and push it all the way to the final.
Unfortunately, down on the second row, though, behind Staffen and Hackett, and William Friend doing it all right from the start, getting the pole.
A 12-lapper for the kids to go at it. I love the way the track spins going clockwise. It makes it a much easier, open first and second turn, a never-ending set of right-handers to set up the start of the race.
Cape Town's in the house and gets a whole shot into turn one with Staffen leading out on William Friend. Didn't look like a good start from Dominic Doyle, and a magic start there from Lance Murray, up into third place and pushing hard.
William Friend, though, is going to have to do all the business. He's keeping him inside right now. And remember, there are good flip overs. In other words, you change direction very quickly from right to left, and this corner is where the first moves will be pulled.
Now looking for overtaking opportunities right around the circuit. William Friend probably going to start looking as quickly as possible. Looking behind him, though, you can see Lance Murray. It's not Dominic Doyle, so the threat in the championship is nowhere near him. Another person that's come to this championship for the very first time is CJ Hackett. He joins the KTM boys and girls, and looks like he's already getting to grips with it, sitting in fifth place just behind Doyle.
Yeah, Hackett is definitely one for the future, coming in at the very late stages of the season, definitely eyeing up the prize for next season as we go into the 2016 championship. One lap in the bag, and look how close it is. The way that we spin the track running clockwise keeps the guys very tight together.
Hard on the brakes into turn one. You can see William Friend putting the pressure on. Staffen's feeling it. He's soaking it up right now, but how much longer can he hang on? The champion-elect is looking for a chance to get to the front, and this is where it could happen.
Here we go. You've got to sweep around the outside, get the lineup on the inside. No way, no how. You cannot come back on that line. Friend set that up perfectly. Clear air. This is what he wanted.
And now he's got to try and get away. Problems for Hackett. He's gone down, and unfortunately looks like he might be out of this one. If they can get that bike up and running, but no, it's not going to happen this time.
CJ will be back in it. It's all about a learning curve as you get onto these bikes. Back and forth we go as Cape Town hits the front once again. Staffen going to try and run away and break away. The top two are stretching it though. They are gone. There is no way Marais is going to catch these two.
He's looking to try and get as much out of it. Oh, too much out of it into turn one. Staffen goes down, and that's him out of it. That is going to leave a massive gap to second place, which should be Lance Marais and Dominic Doyle fighting. Let's see William Friend just fortunately staying out of the way of the trouble as Staffen went down in turn one.
You know what? Turn one, as you get more and more confident, it does kind of coax you in. It wants you to go in hotter and harder every single time. And as Staffen was trying to pull the pin and break away, it just got away from him.
Checkered flag came out, and an awesome effort there from William Friend. That's one in the bag. He's just got to do it one more time. But Dominic Doyle was right on his tail, so exactly where he needed to be. Lance Marais there in third place with Coccione in fourth. Tyrese Robert eventually in fifth place with Staffen and Hackett, DNF.
Doyle keeping Friend honest.
Awesome effort from the youngsters. Let's get them down here and find out how things were out on track.
The problem with qualifying was my tire pressures weren't right, but worked on it a bit after the qualifying and still sliding, but better than usual.
Just had to push and get past Lance to get into third. And unfortunate for Brandon, but good on me for second.
We had problems with tire pressures the whole race, and my gear lever wasn't kicking into third gear so much. So I was struggling going into turns, but then after that I just backed off a bit and thought, let me just get points. And then with my luck he fell, and then that's how I won.
Hi, my name is Luca Coccione. I raced in the Super Juniors, and this is my NGL logistics in 60 seconds. My proudest moment has been being able to attend Red Bull Rookies Cup tryouts selection in last year. My favorite racetrack is the East London Grand Prix circuits. I would say my favorite superhero is Valentino Rossi. Nando's or KFC? Nando's. My favorite sport besides motorsports is soccer. MotoGP or SPK? MotoGP. My motorbike sounds like boom. My biggest rival is William Friend. My most prized possession is my 390. My favorite sports car is a Ferrari. Mountain bike or road bike? Road bike. My favorite cartoon character is Popeye. Twitter or Instagram? Instagram. This is me, Luca Coccione, NGL Logistics in 60 seconds.
As always on Super GP, we go out and help out the community. This time out, it's Kids Haven, and they've come out to Red Star Raceway for the very first time to come and enjoy the festivities and be part of the action, and also receive a magnificent couple of tins and massive amounts of tins being handed out by our motorcyclists that came in early on to give them a chance for some great chow this evening. All right, Pat, you do an amazing job with all these youngsters behind you. Have they enjoyed the day?
Yes, they did a lot. Otherwise, it's our first time to watch the motorbikes live, especially myself and some of the guys, most of them. It's only one guy when I speak to them, only Billy, who said, no, I did watch them before. And they did enjoy a lot. Myself too, I did enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, boys, how much did you enjoy it? Tell me how much by making as much noise as possible. Tell me.
So lined up going into Heat 2 for the Super Juniors. This is where we could nail the championship down. Doyle is doing it all right. If Doyle can keep up into the top 3, possibly the top 2, he may be able to push this championship all the way to the wire.
Yeah, unfortunately forced out wide and into 6th place as they go through there, but coming back at them. At the front end, though, it's all about Staffen and William Friend again, and I don't think William's going to hold back as long as he did in the first heat to get through to the lead. Watch for the flick over here. Will he sneak up the inside? Not quite close enough there. Look in the background. Cameron Hackett is back in the heat and probably going to look for a possibility of a podium in his first time of trying.
Yeah, Hackett, incredible job there, running in the 3 spot right now. Marais not getting the drop off the line. Also, let's mention Tyrese Robert as well. A couple of the guys, you can just see in their form, their style of riding, they're not enjoying spinning the track this way around. Please, 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 let's go back the other way, they're saying.
They definitely enjoyed it a little bit more the other way, but that's how it goes. You've got to race it both ways. That's what we do here on Super GP. Going to come back and race it twice here at Red Star Raceway, and it's awesome to have that opportunity. As they cross the line with 11 laps to go, it's William Friend sitting comfortable behind Staffen, waiting to pounce at some point.
Staffen's going to be nervous heading into, and he is. Look at the body language as well. Very tentative, very ginger heading into turn 1, flat out for the first time. He's definitely taken a knock. Cape Town is not feeling the love right now. And there's the move up the inside. And you can see he just didn't carry the speed out of turns 1 and 2. And we've got a new race leader. Friend is not hanging around this time around. Didn't have to really make a hard pass there. Just carried tons more speed, as did Doyle. Doyle now smashing his way up into 3rd.
He had to. Dominic Doyle's got to go, and he's got to fight it out with William Friend. He cannot afford to be finishing 2nd place. He has to beat Friend. Today, it's all or nothing. If you don't get to the front, Dominic Doyle, the championship will head to the 34 bike, and William Friend will walk away with the first title wrapped up in the SuperGP Champions Trophy.
And if there's a time to pounce, it is now. Dominic Doyle is confident. He came real strong towards the end of race number 1. Whereas on the other hand, Staffen is definitely on the back foot and not feeling confident in the front end of his bike. Watch how nervous he is. Again, way early on the brakes and not happy to tip it into turn 1.
Now, it looks like Doyle might be able to capitalize on that one, and he will try. There's no doubt about it. Hackett behind is also looking good. This time staying upright and on 2 wheels like he's supposed to, and just hanging off the back of the battle for second and third.
So hard for these guys to make it count. Doyle is closing in, not quite close enough to make the flip over count. He is though! He is! He just changed his line completely. Real early switch up, and Doyle is in the mix. What a boy! On the move, the 26 all orange up to second place, but Cape Town fighting back.
Oh, Staffen had a big look going into 3. Couldn't quite make it stick, but incredible stuff there out of Dominic Doyle. Exactly what he needed to do. Now he's going to try and bridge that gap. It's about a 10 bike lead, and that's exactly what he's going to try and bridge. If he doesn't get there, the championship's all done.
You know what, Doyle has had flashes of brilliances the whole way through the year. He's been slowly building up the pace. This is the most aggressive we've seen him ride, and he definitely knows what's at stake.
Doyle keeping Staffen out. That's just due to the fact that Staffen is not confident going into turn 1.
No, Doyle's got a lovely line. It's kind of a mid-line. He goes in, he tags the apex, but he is going to have to fight it out. Doyle taking it all the way to the front as well. Friend has had a problem. And that means that Doyle is in with a big shout here. Friend is in trouble. Doyle is the most aggressive rider and fastest rider on track right now.
I wonder if Williams battling with that gear lever. Remember, he spoke about it in his interview. He said it was battling to shift into 3rd gear. That's a 2nd to 3rd gear corner that they just came out of. So good possibility is that problem's back. He's now going to have to ride around that problem and keep Doyle out.
You know what? I did hear an over rev there, so it sounded like he was stuck in 2nd gear for a very long time. Not only does it mean you're not getting the drive, it also means it is so hard to keep the bike planted. Here comes Staffen, going back at it. He's found his confidence, but it's a little too late because Doyle is on fire right now. But Friend has definitely found a top gear now.
Yeah, he's got it all sorted and getting away now. These two, if they start battling with each other, are going to lose ground, and that's exactly what's happened. They've lost a lot of ground to William Friend. William Friend's got it all sorted out. Can he take this victory and possibly wrap the championship going into the final round? Yes, he can.
Flag is there. That means we will crown our first champion of the year in the Super Juniors. William Friend doing an incredible job. But what a turnaround for the season for Dom Doyle in 2nd.
Brandon Staffen in 3rd place, Hackett in 4th, Lance Murray, Tyrese Roberts, and Coccione in 7th.
So there you go, the big number 1 and our first champion.
Wild William Friend, 1st place, and your new champion.
I think I hit a bad patch of tar and it was so unsudden and it just went faster than I could react. I'll try and get to the front in the last round to maintain my 2nd place and get as close to William, even though he has won the championship.
It's crazy how we actually won this. I don't know what to say, but thanks to Rad, Transport.co.za, and my parents for making this possible.
Stay with us after the break. More action from Red Star.
In the Super 600s, it's a battle royal at the front end of this pack. The Brad Pack, as we like to call them, has been led by Stephen Oendal all season long. But Michael White on the consortium shipping Kawasaki has been pushing him very hard, as has Blaze Baker and Anthony Shelley. Unfortunately, Alan John Fenter is not here this weekend. This is a track that really would have suited him. He's on international duties at the Manx Grand Prix, which leaves it up to the number 58 to go out there and try and take that number 1 plate away from Stephen Oendal.
Let's go on board with Brandon Good, and he is going to show us what the big track looks like going clockwise. So fast running into turn number 1. And the big bikes and 600s do a double apex before they head out and don't even shift. That's going to be a 3rd gear, back down to 2nd, and then you get into the very technical zone. So many people high side coming out of this turn.
Yeah, on this R1 Yamaha that Brandon Good is on, of course, it's a very good bike for 1000cc, particularly at this circuit. And it's going to be one of the threats all through the day's racing. But if you take a 600 around here, it also carries incredible speed into these turns.
So you start things off with a very technical zone. The guys will take a long time. What's good about the way the track starts running clockwise is you get equal weighting on the right and left-hand side of the tire. So by the time you head down the short straight, which is where we're heading now, you get to click through the box, and then you better pray there is a lot of heat in the tires and on the brakes, because this is all the way down into 2nd gear.
Down into 2nd gear, into the hairpin, and heading into the DO dogbone section for the very first time. Another technical aspect to the circuit. There's a lot of left and right flickovers. This one particularly catches a lot of riders out because it starts to head down the hill.
Short shift out of the hairpin. Most of the riders will be running between second or third gear depending on their gearing, but they never get to unleash until the end of this another never-ending 180. There's the late apex. This is where you start banging it through the gears and building up to the hairpin at the bottom before you get onto the brakes again and then climb the gearbox. This is the beginning of the highway.
Up onto that highway, and this is what it's all about. You're going to see this Yamaha unleash every potential it has. There's 4, 5, up into 6th gear, and probably up to 280, close to 290 kilometers an hour as you hit the 200-meter marker and then bang it down into second.
Second gear. As soon as you are through this turn, it's a short shift on the flip over. As soon as you turn direction, you are changing gears right, left, right, and then all the way. Try not to get too close to the pit wall, and that's the lap.
The race is, everyone's going to be by each other, so yeah, I think I've got a strategy going. Hopefully I'll take the win off and don't crash, eh?
Well, let's see what he can do, because last time around, remember, Adolf Boshoff was loose. Everyone, though, is going for it. It's got to that serious part of the championship with only this and one more round remaining. Odendahl takes another pole position. Boshoff right there with him. Baker, Shelley, Mikey White, 5th place. A surprise to see him that low down in qualies.
Great to see Dylan Barnard, Lorraine, and Kaiser higher up than they've ever been here at Red Star Raceway in a Super 600 race.
Race number 1, 14 laps. Odendahl gets the good line. And check out Shelley sweeping around the outside. It's getting physical. We knew it would be. Unfortunately, Shelley getting beaten up all the way down into 5th place. Boshoff was the most aggressive there. Baker in the right place at the right time slides through for an early 2nd.
How's that return from Shelley, though? Went down to 6th place, came straight back to 4th by the time they hit turn 2, and is already threatening for 3rd place on the back end of Blaze Baker.
It's a real short run down into turn number 1, and that's why everyone is tightly bunched. There's Shelley trying to climb up the inside of Baker. Baker kind of have a history of getting a bit wild in the opening laps. This is a good position for him to be in, but look how far ahead and up the road Odendahl is already.
I can tell you Baker's got further than he did in the first round that we came to Red Star Raceway. He went up onto the M4 highway and actually took a complete detour there. Looking back over the shoulder, you can see a couple of riders concerned that Doran Loraya a bit further back than when he'd like to be, but he's already into the hunt for the 2nd pack of this Brat Pack. Great effort here from Adolf Boshoff, but Odendahl is starting to open up a little bit of a margin that looks like might not be able to be caught.
Now, if you were Baker and Shelley, you'd want to get around Boshoff quicker, because that bike is all over the place, and he seems to be one of those riders we've seen throughout the season. If you take the fight to him, he takes it straight back to you, and sometimes it gets a little bit wild out there.
So Yamaha, 2 Kawasaki's in a 2nd Yamaha there on the tailpiece of Blaze Baker. They've left Michael White a little bit further back than what he'd like. He's got some work to do to try and close in on these 3. They're fighting for 2nd place, and with the little fight that's happening, allowing Odendahl to get away.
Watch Shelley get the big toe. He's so good at positioning himself here. He may be able to get the double toe. Look at him. He's twitching. He is not going to pull out a slipstream until the very last minute, and Shelley may be able to outbrake at the top of the hill.
Hard out braking coming from behind as well. You can see the rest of the field starting to come into play. That's Dylan Barnard. I mentioned the fact that he was so high up in qualifying. One of his best runs ever on the back of the consortium shipping Kawasaki of Magic Mike White, and looking for a chance to possibly even get into the top 5.
Under the stripe, we see that Shelley has moved on through, and he carries a ton of speed. So we can see that the Yamaha has a good top-end run and good on the brakes. Shelley now up into 3rd place and going after Boshoff.
Boshoff stays outnumbered because I think at this circuit, particularly as we've seen all weekend, times have gone Yamaha's way. The Kawasaki boys have battled a little bit. The Triumph lady, unfortunately, with her other man overseas and not able to assist a little bit, is also taking a bit of strain in the background. You can see, unfortunately, there for Nicole van Arsvegen, not able to run in the top 5 like she has been all season.
Shelley in the zone now, and this is all good news. He's got through on Boshoff. He's made it count. Now is Yamaha's running 1 and 2. But we actually noticed last time we raced here, Greg, that the Kawasaki's have a real good turn mid-corner, but the Yammies have all the legs.
You can see just how hard they're having to work here, and look how hard Shelley's working. A little bit too hard, runs it wide, and opens up the door. Boshoff says, thanks very much, I'll take back 2nd.
Just too hot there. He was trying to do all the outbraking. This time, outbraked himself. So change up in the 2nd place dice. All good news for Odendahl, though. But if Shelley can get through and calm it down a little bit, he's probably the one man who can close down on Odendahl right now.
Look at that as they head up onto turn 2 there. Foot out from Baker, closing in onto Shelley. Shelley and Baker looking for any opportunity to get through. And in fact, look out in the background. Magic Mike's found something and he's starting to close in.
Yeah, the first couple of laps were terrible for Magic. Just got stuck, couldn't get the fire going off the line, and now he is the second fastest man on track. He will be able to close up on this bunch, but now he's got to pass 3 very tough competitors. Shelley should be able to get through, but that little back and forth battle that is going on between himself and the Cowboy, that is making it work very, very hard. In the background, Baker overshoots once again, and that was because of the slipstream. They arrived there a little bit too hot. That means Mikey White is through.
To the Discover Digital chicane, they got it all wrong, as he did in the first round we came to Red Star Raceway. This time doing it completely the other way around. So that little chicane is not working well for the muscle and fitness man. And I think Blaze Baker will be kicking himself after making a mistake like that.
Let's see what Bossoff can do now, because now it is just a 2-horse race. He's got around about a clean half second between himself and Shelley. Totally different lines on the Kawasaki's. Have you noticed that, Greg? Way wide on the entry, and the Yamahas seem to be able to grab that curb pretty early on.
They hold the corner speed so well too. Rob Portman was telling me just how good these bikes are around here. He had an opportunity to ride both the Kawasaki, the BMW, and of course the 2600 competitors as well. And he said you just cannot believe how well these little 600s can corner here.
So Odendahl running, but doesn't seem to be breaking away anymore. The tires have come good on the Kawasaki's, and the chasers are building up the pace. Top of the hill once again, Shelley in a good position, and he just lets the brakes off enough to run out of Bossoff wide. Bossoff, the fighter though, gets straight back to it. That'll be slow. That'll be all good news for Magic Mike White as he tries to close up. But they were elbow to elbow, and it's going to be Outbreak City, Sideways City, once again in turn 1.
Loving this little battle. This is what it's all about in the Super 600. It's been like this all season long, although Odendahl was normally in the fight. He isn't holding anything back today. He knows he's got to get away, get 2 wins in the bag so he can go to Desi's Raceway and hopefully wrap up this title.
Yeah, he just wants a clean, easy day. Shelley still climbing up the inside again. That is our observation. Those inside lines, the Yamahas seem to be able to go for them without slowing themselves down or holding any pace back. And Shelley, again, tagging the line up the inside. He is more than showing a wheel at every turn. He wants through.
Now, we talk about the Cowboys' riding style and how wild it is, but if you look at Shelley, when he was on the Kawasaki, he wasn't able to throw the bike around and ride it like he likes to. The Yamaha, however, is giving him the opportunity to slide in a la Supermoto style down into the diode hairpin, and could we see it here? Yes, we can. Oh, it's tight between the two of them. He forces the Cowboy wide.
Yeah, he picked him up. He was just positioning himself absolutely perfectly, and this is where you can really do a fight on. If you pick someone up there, they have no drive coming into the dog bone section. Well, you say that, but look at Bossoff. He is strong. Baker, massive problems, sitting in the top 5 and out of it now in the pits.
I wonder if it's a braking issue. It looks like a gear lever issue as well, looking down on the left-hand side. So Baker not going to be finishing up this first heat. Hopefully he'll be able to get back out again and just get something. But look at that, in the middle of the road.
That's an exhaust pipe.
Exhaust pipe.
Well, it's definitely not Blaze Baker's exhaust pipe. There it is on the right-hand side. So, well, someone is going to be having a screamer out there. You're definitely going to hear it, but thankfully, mercifully, off the racing line.
Well, looks like the racing line, though, is all done and dusted here. The two Kawasaki's probably the only two that can now run for a possible final podium position, and Magic Mike has closed right in on the Cowboy. Looks like he's got issues here in the closing stages because that Yamaha, the MTech Racing Yamaha of Anthony Shelley, has got away.
Yeah, you're right, Greg. There's definitely gaps opening. The biggest gap is definitely between the top 2 Yamahas. Odendahl is gone. There is a massive gap. This is the only fight left on the road, and Bossoff has smoked his tires and brakes once again, and Magic has climbed the ladder. But will he be able to make the pass count? He just seems to have come strong a little bit too late in the race.
Like we've said all season long, he's not great off the line, but he's got extremely good late race pace. If you can just change that round ever so slightly, we'd probably see Michael White taking more victories.
Bossoff, such a hard man and such an aggressive fighter late on in the race. He knows the win's gone. He knows second place is gone. He's not going to want to give away a third.
He definitely still wants a podium now in the closing stages. Can he keep Magic Mike out? The Cowboy versus Magic Mike heading into the NGL Logistics Complex. You can see just how close it is between these two Kawasaki's. The Yamahas have got away, and I think it's just to the line for these two.
Yeah, and they're so equally matched as well. Exactly the same machinery, but completely different riding styles. And Mike seems to be sitting up, trying to use his body as a brake, whereas Bossoff is just loading up the front end. Good mid-corner speed, and that's what we always see out of Magic Mike. To the flag, though, and this is for third place. Bossoff will take it up the road. Odendahl and Shelley already through in 1 and 2.
Yeah, brilliant ride there from Stephen Odendahl, taking the win on the Neil powered by Yamaha machine. ahead of Anthony Shelley on his second Yamaha. Bossoff keeping on the podium ahead of Michael White. Dylan Barnard and Darren Larrea are some of the best riding we've seen out of those two youngsters. And look out for Nicole Van Arsveen down 7th. Baker with some problems, Kaiser also with problems, and Rudman in 10th.
A third, I'll go with a third. I'm not happy with this, but we'll see how it goes the second heat. I like to win, I don't like to come third, eh?
I'm happy with the results. I'd just like to thank Ricky and the team, Gary and Mike, and everyone for supporting.
You know, it's actually quite a hard race when you buy yourself in front and you can see the gap getting closer and further and closer and further, and it just puts more pressure on you. Can't wait to go to Spain next week to show the guys what I can do there.
Hi, my name is Nicole van Aswegen. I'm currently racing in the Super GP series in the Super 600 class on a Daytona Triumph, and this is my NGL logistics delivered to you in 60 seconds. My proudest moment was this year in Cape Town. I came third in the Super 600 class. My favorite racetrack in the Super GP calendar has to be Cape Town because that's where I got my podium. My superhero has to be Spider-Man. Brains or brawn, I would go with brains because my boyfriend's got the brains and the looks. Nando's or KFC, I'll definitely go with Nando's. My favorite sport besides motorsports is boxing. MotoGP or SBK, I'll definitely go with MotoGP. My motorbike purrs because it's a girl, so it's wow, wow. My biggest rival has to be actually all the boys because they're so fast. But at the moment, I'd actually say Blaze Baker. My most prized possession is my family and friends, and also my motorbike. My favorite sports car has to be a Nissan GTR. Mountain bike or road bike, I'll definitely go with mountain bike. My favorite actor is Sylvester Stallone. Twitter or Instagram, definitely Instagram. That's me, Nicole van Aswegen, delivered to you in 60 seconds by NGL Logistics.
Race 2 coming up and another 14 laps of racing action. The Kawasaki boys trying to figure things out. They weren't great in the opening stages of the race, and that's what caused all the problems on the Yamahas to be able to do the breakaway. Mike White is going to have to try and pick up the pace.
He comes through in 5th place as they go into turn 1. It's Yamahas that are leading things out. Undal getting the drop. Shelley with a much better start. This time he didn't get muscled out into turn 2 by Bossoff. He actually beat Bossoff and he's starting to do the muscling himself. Have a look at that.
That could have got wild. That's Shelley up the inside and up the inside again. Odendal definitely picked that one up. Did not want to end his day on the sideline. That was close. Shelley wants to walk away from this penultimate round with a win.
Nashua MTech Yamaha leads out for the first time with Anthony Shelley on board here at Red Star. And the Neil Life powered by Yamaha machine in 2nd place is scratching his helmet going, what happened there?
Yeah, I think he didn't leave the door open. Shelley just got wild and got fully committed straight away up the inside, converted it to another inside, and the two Yamahas should be able to break away. Slopping and sliding, Shelley likes to back it in nice, short shifting as we enter the dog bones.
And we spoke about that in race 1, the ability of Shelley on this Yamaha and his riding style to get it sideways is exactly perfect for each other.
Just looks so comfortable doing it as well. Absolutely no problems. What we're also finding as we get through the season and more development starts to happen on the Yamahas is they don't chew the rubber. We can see that. You can do a direct comparison between the Yamahas and the Kawasaki's. By 3/4 race distance, the Kawasaki's have spun the back tire to pieces.
Now, I want to just bring in a fact that we were talking about on the day, Matt, between Rob and I. The Yamahas and the sliding ability takes us back to MotoGP days on the Red Bull Yamaha with the Slide King.
McCoy.
Incredible stuff, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of both of these riders. Watch for the late braking here, just showing a wheel possibly. Okay, not quite. It's a little bit too early. How was that? Brilliant.
That bike was up on its nose, and again, Shelley just super comfortable. No one's running with these guys at this stage, though. End of lap number 1. The Yamahas are working well together and breaking away. This is all good news for Undal.
Yeah, thanks very much, Stephen Undal. Some fantastic shots out of that GoPro on the front of your bike. Now heading into turn 1. Undal is under a bit of pressure there because all of a sudden the Cowboys decided, I can run with you two, and Baker is back in it as well.
It's like we've said, the Kawasaki's run real good. No real breakaway, so I have to turn the clock back and say, sorry, they weren't pulling away. It looked like they were, but now the Kawasaki's have got the heat in the rubber and they're starting to climb the ladder. Bossoff, you could see from his post-race interview coming out of race number 1, he wasn't happy. He definitely wants to get higher than the 3rd place, and it's going to be pressure from now on.
The background, nice little battle there between Darren Larrea, Dylan Barnard, and just incredible stuff between those two youngsters. They really have gotten to grips with Super GP really on. Unfortunately, this man hasn't. Darian Kaiser with another DNF.
The Dazzler having a real rough season from injuries to mechanicals. 2016's got to be better, bud.
Our Northern Region champion, of course, stepping up into Super GPs and now looking at an opportunity for a full season next year. But as they come onto the back straight away, once again, here comes an overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say, with that freight train queuing up behind him, Odendahl has to react. He's the one rider who can react, positions himself perfectly, makes the pass under power and slipstream and runs super wide. That's going to be Shelley climbing back underneath him. That's bad news, because that means all the Kawasaki's are right on his bumper now. Odendahl does not like being in this position. He wants to run and have clear air.
Heading into turn 1, he's got pressure coming from behind in the form of 3 Kawasaki's. Indy Oil Toy Store 1, the Muscle and Fitness Kawasaki, and the Consortium Shipping Kawasaki. And 3 riders that definitely want to be on the podium.
This is shades of Red Star Raceway when we ran the opposite way around. All of these 5 riders were in it, and all of them were right in it at the very end of the race as well. There goes Bossoff. Just trying to carry too much mid-corner speed. He was trying to run that inside line that the Yamahas ride, and he just lost grip completely.
Looks like he might have cooked the motor there, Matt, and a little bit of water on the front wheel, and that's it. Losing the front end, game over, and he's gone down, and that's him out of it. That is a massive loss to this race, and it also throws him completely out of the championship.
Yep.
Not happy, as
Yep.
you can see.
Not happy at all. And I'm telling you right now, he was trying to run a Yamaha line, and his bike would not hook it up. Oh, Baker just running out at the bottom there, and that's going to have him outside. He's not going to get a podium from that position.
Yeah, problem there was the radiator bursting on Bossoff's bike, sprayed his visor, and he was trying to wipe the visor at the wrong point on the short straight, and unfortunately missed the braking marker.
There you go. That is a full straight line. We often see guys hitting false neutrals there. That was just a clean out brake. Missed his point completely.
And here we go to the battle between the 2 Yamaha boys now. They've got clean air amongst themselves and Magic Mike, although saying that, Magic Michael White usually can find something special at this point in the race when he can see that there's a gap to be closed in. Look out for the outbraking once again from the near-life bike. Into the braking markers and down into the DO chicane. Oh, brilliant stuff. Odendahl this time has made it stick.
Oh, only just there. He really had to work on that situation. It looked like he was running wide again, and you had to pull it back. You're on full edge, full braking, and that is where we see so many people throw it down the road. Odendahl now, for the first time, clear air, and he's going to want to run.
So he can get away from the second Yamaha. Shelley's not going to allow him to do that. Shelley at this stage has also still got lots of race pace left in him. Look out for an outbraking maneuver from Shelley down into the same spot. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Not close enough.
Remember, Shelley not really in it for the championship as well. He does want to show goods for his Nashua M-Tech Racing Yamaha squad. Remember, he only got pulled in a couple of rounds back. The flag is out though, and Yamaha will be happy nonetheless. 2 teams representing, and a 1 and 2 again.
Brilliant stuff there from Shelley to run only 100th of a second behind Odendahl. Much better this time. Michael White back on the podium, exactly what he needed to do to keep this championship going up to Desi's Raceway.
Baker came back on track to tag a 4th.
Our first race, we got a good start, and as I turned to turn 1, Dylan came up my inside and pushed me wide. So, but it's racing. It happens, and then I had to fight back. And now the second race, so went from second to nowhere, and then just had to fight my way back.
I was hoping for a first. I was there the first few laps, but then the tires started wearing off and the pace slowed down a bit. And then Steven passed me, and then I thought, yeah, I'll go with Steven. And then he just passed me and he pulled the gap. And I tried to close on him and repass, but he was just too fast.
It was a great race weekend and good strategic planning for that second race, but luckily I got the win, so full gas.
After the break, we head to the premier category, the Super GPs.
In the Super GP, the Yamahas at Red Star Raceway seem to have a slight edge over the rest of the competitors. It's going to be up to Clincella to see whether or not he can go out there and possibly wrap this championship up. If he gets 2 wins today, there is a very good mathematical chance that he'll walk away with the title with 1 round to go. We're hoping that's not the case, and the battle rages up until Desi's Raceway. The BMW is very good around here, but of course the last race we were here, Lance Isaacs went down and made a mistake. It was all about Matthew Skoltz on the second Yamaha that seemed to have the pace that everybody was looking for. Sellers found it. Let's go and see whether or not he can put her into race pace.
Quite a few stories coming out of the early part of racing on the weekend. Brent Herron missing the previous round of racing due to a wrist injury. Back onto it. Not a great qualifying time that put him way down there in 7th place, but his Super Pole run was looking tasty.
He gave it everything he can. That's exactly what he had to do. And Metals used spare center, of course, pushing hard here on the Kawasaki ZX-10. It wasn't the only Kawasaki ZX-10 this weekend, though, as Darren Upton had also stepped up in the qualifying and into Super GP out of his last run down in East London on a 600.
Harron's time slid him all the way up into a third position.
Brandon Good qualified in 5th and was looking to try and get the Yamaha a little bit higher up than that. And as he went out onto the circuit, things were going well.
Yeah, Goody's learning curve has been a little bit more extended than his teammate Matty Scott's. But at Red Star, Good just seems to gel real nicely, and he was also starting to climb the ladder. A very, very strong ride in his Super Pole got him a provisional pole position with only 2 players to go, but 2 of the biggest threats on the circuit.
Both of them on very similar machinery. Here's his teammate, Matthew Scholz, making his way out onto the circuit. The Umschlanger Rocket looking to get that Yamaha onto the top and probably just outgun anybody else on this track.
Front row, front row, front row. That is what he wanted. Remember last time around, the Yamahas dominated the front row and the top 3 positions last time we came to Red Star Raceway. Scotty, though, was trying to keep the championship alive and take wins away from Sella.
He had to push it really hard, and that's exactly what he was doing. But unfortunately, a big moment onto the back straight, and that was him out. And we'd be starting from 8th place. You see the back end just stepped out on that R1, and he just pushed it too hard onto the big highway.
A miracle for Scholzi and the team. No damage to the rider, very little damage to the bike as well. So he would be starting from way down the grid. Sella, all the pressure off him.
Pressure was still there to try and outgun the other Yamaha rider who was already on provisional pole. Brandon Good was sitting in the hot seat going, come on, I've got this one. Can I outgun the king of Super Pole? This was going to be 14 out of 15 attempts if he got it right. And as the checkered flag came out and he crossed the line, he indeed did just that.
He improved his qualifying time and went to the top of Super Pole, pulling 1.5 seconds out of everybody. That is a beating.
Brandon Harron joined into 2 Yamahas on the front row. Lance Isaacs, though, in 4th place with some work to do. Darren Upton and Kershaw will be pushing hard on the 2nd Kawasaki and the 2nd BMW.
You just got to give it your all every lap. Every braking zone is as late as you can brake. Every time you jump on the gas, it's as hard as you can. So, and that's what keeps us sharp in our trade.
14 laps for the boys to go at it. Clinton Sella trying to nail down yet another championship. But Matthew Scholz, watch out for the Umschlanger Rocket. He is going to have to get that thing fired up, hooked up, and perfect off the line from the back of the grid.
Unfortunately, they've given him 1 position and allowed Johan van der Merwe Jr., one of our bots riders who stepped up to Super GP, to come play with the top riders in the country on his Ducati. He goes into turn 1 at the back, but in turn 1 at the front, it's 2 Yamahas side by side, and incredibly, it's Brandon Good who gets the whole shot.
Scholz was right in the middle of that one, trying to do the cutback. He actually almost had to get picked up by Lance Isaacs, and Isaacs was not happy about Scholz trying to slide up the inside at that early point. Bit of a risky move.
We know how good Scholz is off the line, and he will absolutely do anything possible to get to the front end, especially if he's got to start from 7th place on the grid. And in fact, Lance Isaacs has been outgunned by the 2nd BMW there, the Tsudami beach bike of the Benoni Bomber. Incredible stuff there from Kershaw. He's found something special.
A huge loss from Harron after pulling his socks up, coming out of qualifying, getting all the way up onto the front row. He is outside of the top 6 right now with Upton up the road.
Yeah, incredible stuff there from Darren Upton, the RSA man, just going down into the Discover Digital hairpin and making it the first Kawasaki on track. And with him on board and Harron on his tail, and Harron's looking dangerous. But more dangerous is Clint Sella.
Yeah, Upton made a huge mistake there, actually slowing right in the middle of the corner, and that just meant that Harron couldn't get through, and he's lost even more ground. Now it is the Yamahas running 1 and 2. Kershaw is doing a great job in 3rd place, but now the big guns are stretching out. Goody has arrived this season. He has been waiting for that bike, and he has finally gelled with it. The 71 is looking strong.
Number 1 on his tail will be looking to get past as quickly as possible because he knows Matthew Scholz is coming, and coming like the Umschlanger Rocket. We know he is. And look at that. Down that back straightaway. Watch out for outbraking maneuvers from Matthew Scholz a bit further back. But right now, look out for the late braking from Sella.
Yeah, he just reacted. As soon as that leg came out, he let the lever off a little tiny bit, and he will, the champion and champion-elect, once again, lead across the stripe on lap 1.
Good effort there from him. In the background, though, Scholz is looking dangerous, looking for an opportunity to sneak through. He's got through on one of the BMs, and in fact, the Kawasaki snuck ahead as well. Great riding from Upton. He is a Red Star specialist, and he's got through on Kershaw.
Yeah, he kind of ran it a little bit deep. Because of where he made the pass, he can control the inside line coming out of the turn. No fight back for the Bomber, and looks like Kershaw is starting to slide down the slope.
I can tell you, Upton is much more comfortable on that Kawasaki ZX-10 than on the 6. There's a move on the inside, though, of Lance Isaacs.
That was...
And Scholz is through.
That was wild. Late as you like, wild as you like. Only one man in the country right now could pull that thing back on track. Scholz has got the big hurry up. Definitely got a lot of rubber on those rims, and he is moving forward rapidly.
Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3. BMW in 4th place. And, almost identical crasher. Upton is down. Very similar to what we saw with Scholz, just losing the back end, going on to the back straight.
Good has had some problems, dropped way off the pace. Scholz is coming through now, as is Isaacs. Isaacs is feeling very comfortable now. Does seem at the Red Star Raceway track that he takes a couple of laps to start feeling it.
I hope he's going to be able to keep it upright, because remember, he did go down in the first time we came here. And now into turn 1, it's Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3, but the 2 and 3 have changed up. It's Scholz to second, good to third.
Scholz's laps are absolutely amazing right now, but the gap has been pulled, and it looks like Sella is not going to get closed down. He's cruising this one. He's got a massive, massive lead. As soon as Goody made that mistake, there was no one to run with him.
He probably would have got the board saying that Scholz is up to second place, so he's not going to ease off that much. He's still got to worry about the fact that Scholz can find some special laps, and in fact has got down into the 53 deads. Not quite into the 52s that we've seen out of Kinsella, and setting a new lap record around here, a 52.340.
Yeah, Sella, amazingly enough, able to bang in quite a few 52s lap after lap, and matching his pace. The final lap, just a board that he loves to see every single time around, because as soon as he sees the final lap, he looks at his pit board reads plus 9 seconds to second place.
Yeah, I'll have a look over every now and again, because at Red Star Raceway you can do that. You can actually see where the second place rider is, or somebody that's closing in on you, if you've got a decent enough gap, which he has. And across the line, it's going to be the first race victory to the Portable Shade and Near Life, powered by Yamaha team.
Sella just very, very rarely making mistakes. He learned his lesson a couple of years ago, and he's showing the money to everybody out there. Scholz getting up into a strong second place. Goody held on to that third, even though he was pressured the whole way through the second half of the race by Lance Isaacs. And Harron did a good fight versus the Kawasaki's in 5th.
So it's Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3 on the podium.
We all have the same bike here. It's just Clinton's an exceptional rider. Maybe one day we'll be able to keep up with him, but in the meantime, congrats to him. He rode very, very well. Congrats to Matthew for coming from the back.
I made 1 or 2 errors running wide and nearly high-sided, so I thought that I had to settle for second rather than chuck 20 points away.
Flag to flag victory is always the toughest, you know what I mean? You set your own pace, you sort of work your own deal there. But I must say, those are the races that I do enjoy. It's a very special motorbike that I've had today. That's the reason that I can get to do the lap times I've been doing all weekend.
Join us after the break for the final round of racing action from Red Star.
Hi, I'm Brent Aaron. I race the Metal Center Kawasaki ZX-10 in the SuperGP Champions Trophy. This is my NGR logistics delivered in 60 seconds. My proudest moment would probably have to be winning the National at Cape Town this year after having a really, really difficult weekend. Favorite racetrack on the calendar, I tend to like them all, but probably Cape Town and Swartkorps are they rank among my highest there. Favorite superhero, Batman. Blonde or brunette? Brunette, definitely. Nando's a KFC, Nando's definitely. My favorite sport beside motorsport, there's a few I like. To be honest, I like tennis, I like rugby, I like cricket, cycling, so it's quite a few. MotoGP or SPK, MotoGP for sure. My motorbike sounds makes a noise. My biggest rival, I'd have to say everyone that I'm racing against, to be honest, because everyone's on a very high level right now. So on a given day, any one of the riders in the SuperGP Championship. My most prized possession, I think my girlfriend would want me to say her. So between her and my mom, say those two. Favorite sports car, Lamborghini. Mountain bike or road bike, I think I'd have to go with a mountain bike, yeah. My favorite actress would have to be Angelina Jolie. Twitter, Instagram, I'd probably say Instagram, man. That's me, Brent Harron, delivered in 60 seconds by NGR Logistics.
Well, Harron's taken the time out to grow a bone in his wrist after having a snowboarding injury, and also a little Tom Sykes on his face as well.
Snowboarding in South Africa. Yes, that's exactly what he got involved in, but now we're getting involved in race 2 for Super GP.
Another 14 laps of racing action. And here we go. It's going to be the Yamaha bangers. Isaacs in a real good position this time around. Slots into a comfortable wide line. Gets up to second.
one of the biggest concerns at the start of this race was looking over the top end of the horizon there. A little bit of wetness looking and making its way here pretty rapidly. There was a possibility that we may even get some rain in the final part of race 2.
Kershaw not delivering a second good start of the day, and that meant that Harron was starting to find his form once again up into 4th place, and here came Scholzy.
Scholz tried to look on the inside. Harron shut the door, wasn't going to line through just that easily, but certainly not going to be easy for him to keep that Yamaha out. We can see just from the pace in race 1 how good those bikes were. Even the BMW of Lance Isaacs couldn't stay with him. Kershaw trying as hard as he can to stay up there with the top 5.
Down the short straight for the first time, you could see that the BMW was extremely strong, but the Yamahas all on the brakes, and that was Scholzy once again outbraking himself, forcing Harron wide, and Harron having a long look over the shoulder before he tipped in. These never-ending left-handers are just wild, and that was Goody I think he thought that Scholz was on his back wheel and trying to wave his rider through.
100% right. It wasn't Scholz though, still. It was all about Harron. So Harron still keeping that Yamaha at bay. How much longer could he do that?
What a teammate, eh? What a teammate. Brandon Good playing the game.
At that time of the season, unfortunately, he has to. He's got to try and see how well Scholzy can go, because remember, Scholz is the only man who can really give Clincella a run for his money.
Goody has just allowed Harron to get through. He's definitely going to allow his teammate to come through. He'll look over his shoulder now, but we don't want any other points taken away. Remember, Harron out of this championship after missing one of the rounds.
And out of that position too. Good returned the favour, as did his teammate, and allowed both those Yamahas to sneak ahead of the slightly less top-ended Kawasaki down that back straight.
Well worded, Greg. Very well worded. Because we know that the Kawasaki's will be delivering a new bike for the 2016 season. Right now, the most powerful machines out there are the Yamis and the BMs.
Scholz in perfect position now. His teammate, the tail gunner, going to keep everybody else at bay. And Scholz has got one more bike to tick off before he can go and fight for the win with Clincella.
Remember, Kershaw is trying to pick up the pieces in this championship as well. He wouldn't mind a top 3 finish. That'll help him try and climb up the ladder. He is looking for a top 3 position come the end of the season.
Incoming, and it looks like there might be a small issue on that BMW. I mean, look at the way that Lance Isaacs is riding. It's not quite the riding style we've seen out of him, and that's allowed Scholz to sneak ahead. Now can he keep up the rest of the pack and maybe get himself onto the podium?
Greg, if you remember from all the way through last season and this season in particular, Isaacs has had major brake problems, and if there's one circuit that asks so much of the brakes, it is Red Star Raceway. BMW does carry a slightly heavier chassis, heavier frame, and this is where they cook the pads.
Slightly cooler conditions, and of course with that rain beckoning in the background, it wasn't going to be a lap record coming out of any of the riders. Matthew Scholz pushed into the 53.007s, James Bond numbers, and it was only 52.4s coming out of Sella. He got down into the 2s, remember, in Superpole, and he's also got down into the 3.74 range when it came to race 1.
Scholz was twitching, but the big fight was happening in 3rd place. Harron had done a good job and preserved his tyres to really be able to hang in there late in the race, but Isaacs, on the other hand, was spinning up huge.
Yeah, the back shock overheating completely on the BMW, causing massive issues for Lance Isaacs, having to ride around it, and that's exactly what you've got to do in these kind of conditions. You've got to ride around and have that ability, and if anybody's got it, Lance Isaacs has. Unfortunately, though, he was losing positions, and eventually, there you can see, the back end just, oh man.
Bucking Bronco,
yeah,
that's what you call it. Isaacs, a very talented rider and able to hang tough there, but really battling to stay on the pace. By this stage, the Yamaha's running 1, 2, and 3. This was the battle on track for 4th place.
Up the inside went the Kawasaki, and now all of a sudden that Beach Bar BMW was there as well. The Tsunami man had made his way up and could possibly even spoil the day for the factory BMW.
Worth mentioning at this stage that the only Kawasaki out there was Harron with Upton, a no-show going into heat number 2.
Couldn't get the bike sorted out, so he'll be back by the time we head down to Desi's Raceway and maintain his turn skill engineering Kawasaki skills, and hopefully stay with these guys, and at a new circuit that no one's been to before, could possibly be a very big thorn in the side for their championship rivals.
And an observation to be made, on a new circuit, it is going to be very hard to judge how the tyres and brakes will wear. But what we have seen since the new Yamahas have come out is they are able to last longer than any of the bikes out there. They don't drop off the lap times, and that's why we see a battle like this between the BMWs and the Kawasaki's outside of the podium.
Tsunami, Beach Bar, BMW leads out over the Black Swan Energy BMW. That's a big turnaround there. You can see just up the inside, a little bit better handling. You can see just how hard Lance is having to work on that bike with that ailing rear shock.
The King, Sella, so many number 1s to his name thus far, and he is, and still is, once again, the man to beat.
Double victory from his teammate in the 600s, double victory in the Super GP class, and that is a massive birthday present to the team owner, Brad Onassis, who, of course, turns, I think, 60 the next day.
Incredible. A 6-second gap between himself and Scholzi. Goody a long way off the pace, 24 seconds back off the win, but still third place, making Yamaha 1, 2, 3.
Hans got an excellent start, so I was put behind him. Stayed with him, he had a very good pace. And then he had a little bit of a moment, lost the back, and then from then on he was very ginger in the corners and hesitated a lot.
Well done to Stella, well done to the MTech National guys. They worked really hard to fix the bike from after crash in Super Pole, and hopefully the Durban round we can actually come back stronger and fight for the win more than we did today.
This race is really important for me. We've been spending a lot of time developing the bike with the team, with Alfie Swanepoel, with Martin Pretzel. So I think that put me in good stead. And then, a little bit of time on the motocross bike has been, I think a night and day switch for me, really. The more time on that bike just seems like it correlates to lots of fun on my R1.
Moving forward into the first time we've seen the Super M's, Bots and Masters join the tour, and the biggest grid we have seen on the tour for the last 2 years.
Yeah, incredible stuff to see the Bots and Masters stepping up, but it's going to be great racing at the front end. Super M reigning champion, whole shots, with Carl Robinson taking the lead on the Fantech Kawasaki as he heads out into the playland of Red Star Raceway. Keep an eye out on the Bots riders that are going to give him a run for his money.
Yeah, Bots riders, you've got to watch out for Jubba, old Sean Jubba from Rad Motos. So strong in the Bots Regional Series and starting to find real good form. He actually says this is his favourite track. Robinson made a mistake and that allowed Laverick a lot of clear air out front.
Junior sneaking through there. We've just seen him in action in the Super GPs. He had 4 races on the day, so had a busy schedule ahead of him. And Carl Robinson was having major problems on the Fantech bike.
Yeah, we'd see him roll into the pits as Jacques van Venkart on the 52 Red Star Raceway BMW came on through. Jacques eventually also having problems. Brake fade on the big BM.
Running out of brakes, Jubba starting to make his way through the field nicely. In fact, making his way right up into 4th place overall. So an incredible ride there from Jubba. He was trying to get a little bit further up the road. Battles right through the field.
Yeah, he was trying to break away from Alan Hulsher as well. Hulsher was doing a great job on the 1299 Panigale, coming on through and trying to stay ahead of Big Yvette. While Jubba was just cutting his teeth and getting through on a lot of the Masters as they faded late in the race. That was Raymond Keel going backwards.
Checkered flag came out and Super M went to Gareth Laverick. On top of the podium, though, for the Bots, it was all about Johan van der Merwe Jr., Jubba, and Alan Hulsher.
In the Super M's, Laverick, Bester, and Vessels.
Race 2 and all 20 bikes lined up once again. Looks like Carl Robinson got the Fantech Uncle Andy's racing Kawasaki sorted out, and he'd be looking to take a victory, considering the fact that he is the reigning champion in Super M. But he was outgunned by Laverick, who got the whole shot. He went into turn 1 in 2nd place and was fighting in amongst Sean Jubba, Byron Bester, and by the looks of things, Johan van der Merwe Jr.
A couple of crashes earlier on as well. Looked like Big Sid Farina going down, but walking away from the crash.
Nice battles right the way through. Big man from Red Star Raceway, Jacques van Venkart, got the BMW sorted out, was back in the hunt, running with the 133 of Jason Vessels. So both of the Red Star riders having some fun and games in this little mid-pack battle.
Johan van der Merwe Jr. running 2 spot in the Bots Regional Championship. Jubba climbing the ladder, his first full season racing on the Superbikes. A former jet ski and supermoto racer coming good on the black stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately though, the day's racing eventually took its toll on Johan van der Merwe Jr. He was just feeling the fitness level there after racing 4 heats and doing everything he can. Jubba now took the lead, Junior into 2nd, but the battle for 1st place in Super M was still very much up there as Laverick was under pressure from Carl Robinson.
Laverick on the regional side of racing, undefeated on the season and definitely a star of the future. Hopefully comes racing and can join the party on the full Super GP Tour. Laverick with another win, and in the Bots, Jubba takes his first win.
Rob, it's been a bit of a turnaround in the championships. We've seen one championship wrapped up today with Super Juniors. What a change up to bring in Bots and the Super M combined. And big up to you for being here for the day.
I paid 70 Rand to get in, and it was the best 70 Rand I've ever spent in my life. I'm going to try and get it back, that's for sure. But introducing the Bots, best thing they could have done, having those Ducatis and KTMs join the championship, amazing. We had a full grid for the Super M's and the Bots, and it was world-class racing. William Friend taking the first Super Junior title. The Super 600, that race 2 battle was world-class, exceptional. You do not get better. And Clint Seller, the double for the day, and Matty Scholz, the lap times those guys were doing, just phenomenal.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to the final round of this championship as we head down to Desi's Raceway on the 19th of September. Rob Portman said he's going to cycle down there, so we're going to look forward to seeing him on the road. But please join us at Desi's Raceway on the 19th of September. The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.